So Rolling Stones, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath. My cool Aunt Diane has the most delightfully dark record collection. But she also sings these bubbly, obscure B-52 songs. Our favorite is Quiche Lorraine, about a fabulous dog named Quiche the Poodle. We're only 12 years apart, so she's more than just an aunt. I love her like a sister, and a mom, and a mentor, and a friend. She picks up the phone every time I call, which has been often over the years. Not only has she curated my music taste, but she also encouraged my obsession with dogs, which turned into me co-running a dog rescue for many years. In the summer of 2015, Diane was diagnosed with colon cancer at 49. And there was hopeful progress as she underwent surgery and chemo, but a year later, nothing was helping due to an aggressive mutation. So, being in the anger stage and severely depressed, I completely threw myself into the dog rescue. We were notified of a hoarding situation with 30 dogs that needed help. So my husband Steve and I filled the car with crates and headed over to save what we could. Other volunteers were there and other rescue groups to try to sort it all out. We chose 4 dogs that would be easy to adopt out, and a decrepit, deaf, defeated poodle. Her eyes were blind with cataracts, and all of her rotten teeth needed to be pulled. But I heard Diane singing, "Quiche the Poodle!" And I added her to the list. So as we're putting dogs in crates for transport, I realized I can't put this terrified dog in a crate. I'm going to hold her. So we're driving to drop the dogs off for boarding, and I begged to Steve, "We can't leave this poor deaf blind dog at the kennel. Can we please bring her home to foster with the others?" "Sure," he said. Of course, I named her Quiche Lorraine. And like 100 other foster dogs we successfully found homes for, we were not going to keep her. So I took pictures, wrote a bio, got her on the website. There are some people out there that only want to adopt senior dogs for a year or two instead of committing a lifetime to a rowdy puppy. 2 weeks later, Diane's prognosis was updated to terminal. She was scheduled to move to a hospice facility the same day I was appearing on live TV to promote the rescue's upcoming fundraising event and market some adoptable dogs. So I brought Quiche the Poodle. I asked the segment producer to play the namesake B-52 song before the commercial break. Nobody else would be able to name that tune, but Diane would. When the red light appeared on the giant camera, I struggled to keep it together for 4 minutes on live TV, hoping Diane was watching. The broadcaster asked us about the upcoming event and the dogs we brought, and in a modest B-52's impression on TV, I introduced Quiche the Poodle and told her story. After the TV spot, I dropped Quiche off back at home and went to go see Diane in hospice. I showed her the segment online, and she laughed and smiled, and it was so comforting to bring her some joy. The next day, at an adoption event for the rescue, I brought Quiche again, and other volunteers brought their adoptable fosters. A young couple approached our booth and asked to meet our senior poodle. Shocked, I answered their questions. But after they left, I hid in a side room and just sobbed into her curls. She was becoming my emotional support dog. But I was so conflicted about maybe adopting a dog whose time was already limited, when I was already overwhelmed with so much grief and sadness. So that night, I did something that will last forever. I got a tattoo of Diane's handwriting from her last birthday card to me. It says, "Love you, Diane," on my shoulder. 2 days later, Diane passed away. I had visited earlier that afternoon, but she was no longer able to talk. I told her how much I loved her and how she was one of the biggest influences on my life and how I hope to keep making her proud. She squeezed my hand, so I know she heard me. A couple weeks after Diane's memorial service, Steve and I signed Quiche's adoption contract. It would not fill the void of losing Diane, but I felt a little piece of her in Quiche the Poodle. 3 years later, Quiche's doing great. She's maybe 19 now. And that deaf, blind, toothless dog has learned the layout of our house. Our other dogs understand how much we love and need her, and they are so gentle with her. When we lose someone young, it never seems fair. I struggled to process the grief of losing Diane, and nurturing Quiche was one of my biggest coping tools. I'm so grateful that she's outlasted everyone's expectations. We have a saying in rescue that we can't save them all, but we save the ones we can.